Alright, brothers, I literally right now, I literally shot my video, came out of bars, nature, giving me inspiration. I came out of bars, man. But God willed it. It didn't film, it only filmed for 11 seconds and it went away. So, basically, I'm just gonna summarize what I did. I went on this tree, yeah? Yeah, and I literally got up and jumped off. And to really illustrate it, like if you see this tree right now, it doesn't look very high, does it? Like especially this part, because I jumped from here. Okay, but I did this in the video, but I didn't film. I don't know why. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I can do it again. Should I do it again? Come on. I mean, to be honest, to really illustrate the point, we need to do it again. Because the topic is, hopefully this film doesn't stop like last time. I'm back. God's sake. Okay. Is it working? Yeah, I think it's working. So basically, our theme today is fear and courage. Now, courage is not what many people think it is. Courage is not what many people think it is. Courage is literally ingrained in fear. Fear needs to be there for courage to actually be there as well. For courage to grow. Without fear, there's no courage. That's literally by definition. Courage is something where you fear about thing to do, but you still do it anyway. It's kind of like bravery. And fear is actually a good thing. You should like fear. Because then, think about it. If you had no fear, we die like that. Because if I had no fear, I'll go over the tree, fucking break all my legs, break everything about me. Break all my shit, break all my, I don't know, man. But that fear, it makes you hyper aware like that, It makes you hyper aware, and it makes you more alive. It's an adrenaline rush, And especially if you use your body with it. It connects your body and your mind. And your body and your mind is part of a trinity, The trinity of a soul, body, mind. Soul is really the divine, the core of you. That's truly you. Body and mind is really, your body is like your physical armor, let's say. Your physical, how do you say it? It's your physical temple. You can say temple, you can say box, you can say tabernacle. Like an ancient they said tabernacle. And that's your body. And your mind is like a psyche, like psychology. It's also part of a body if you think about it. Because chemicals. Obviously the mind is a bit higher level, because you cannot just observe it. Like scientists, they still don't know much of a brain. It's a bit more mystical, but it's not really. It's still part of a material. And none of this is actually you. None of this actually gives you life. But if you have that deep connection between mind and body, if those are very healthy, then that leads to the soul. Because without a healthy mind and healthy body, you can never realize the soul. You understand? The soul is literally you, as God says. That's why I'm saying, guys, man, if you're new to this stuff, have a scripture as a foundation. Obviously, I'm with the Quran. I think the Quran for our modern times is the best scripture out there. Simply because, it's concise. It's not like the Bible, for example. It's not even a scripture, by the way. It's like a lot of books collated. I'm not saying, obviously, there's worth in it. Like the Torah, if you think about Torah, that's like equivalent to the Quran. But then the rest are just like people write, no one says it's actually really divinely inspired. Writings of Paul, the contradictions, So it's a bit of a wish-wash. And the Bible, it depends what church you go to. Like if you go to the Ethiopian church, it's different. If you go to a Catholic church, there's different books. If you go to any Protestant sect, it's different. So Bible literally means in Greek, it literally means library, not shifter. If you want to be in that Christian tradition more, I recommend Torah only. Okay, add in the Synoptic Gospels because they are more trustworthy. The Gospel of John is a bit iffy because, you know, obviously if you look at it, the Gospel of John was inspired by Paul. Paul's writing came before the Gospel of John, and Gospel of John was Gospel according to John, by the way. It's not actually Gospel of John. Was the, you know, it's radical. Like a synoptic. The reason why I call synoptic Gospels, you know, Mark, Luke, and Matthew. The reason why we call it synoptics is because they agree with each other, basically, like they're consistent with each other. But John is basically completely out of it, you know, and it's the last of the gospel, so it's like there's a lot of contradictions between it, and it's like the last, and it's like the only one that, you know, gives the physical human divinity instead of the one absolute God, you know, like gives Jesus divinity when Jesus was a messenger, a prophet, and a very righteous man, a very guiding man. Obviously, the guidance is of God, but, you know, like a teacher, he was a teacher. And but he was more than a teacher. He's actually a prophet. He's a Messiah, obviously. He was a Messiah, so he's a very important person, very mystical person as well. But obviously not to the point of the absolute. I mean, it's relative. You cannot be a human and be the absolute God. Like, that's just a childish mentality of God. Because think about it. When we talk about God, we don't mean a flying spaghetti monster in the sky. You know? That's a very childish way of thinking about God. We don't mean the daddy in the clouds. No. No. We're talking about absolute. The unmoved mover, as Aristotle called it. The singularity. I don't like using singularity, but the only true existence that everything comes from, that is God. Like, we come from it, the unmoved mover, you know, we all come from that source. And as God says in the Quran, you know, this is a verse I wanted to say before, but we have to ask for tangent. You know, attention span wise as well, the Quran is like, gets the point, man. It doesn't talk about, you know, if you go read the Torah, for example, the Genesis, talks about the names of these tribes, and bro, like modern times we don't need that. Like, maybe the Jewish tribes needed that or something, struck their lineage, but like all these names we don't care about, right? It's got nothing to do with our guidance. So the Torah, for example, is a very good book. It's a very good guidance. But then it's very academic. It's not for the average person. You know what I mean? It's for someone who wants to research about topic. It's not someone who wants to I just want the guidance, bro. Just give me guidance. And the Quran basically just summarizes thought. Like, it's just like, yeah, just anything that is in relation to the guidance. And doesn't narrate anything else. Just the guidance, right? So it's a mercy. And so that's why I'm now Quran. And when God describes the creation of man, He says, you know, you know, we created him, then we fashioned him, then we breathed into him of our spirit, or in another verse, of his spirit, I God. So what actually gave us life when we were clay, right? We were fashioned, basically like anything else we fashion, right? The material has no life, okay? What actually gave us life was the Spirit of God. Like, not the Spirit of God. No, I don't mean the absolute Spirit. I mean, it was like of the Spirit of God, from the Spirit of God, being breathed into us. And that is truly who we are. And if you see there's a Greek temple, Apollo of Delphi. And if you look at that, it's a very ancient temple. I think it's an ancient one in all of Athens. And if you look at the temple, it literally says, know thyself. Know thyself. That doesn't mean, oh, study psychology, oh, no. What that really meant is know the godly essence within you. So you're not just, you know, you're not just a slave to anything else. You're not a slave to your food, you're not a slave to society, you're not a slave to whatever desires Because if you're slave to desires, man, society can easily manipulate that. Easily. To favor whatever you want to do. You know, you're a master of your own self. And obviously you're a servant of God as well. But absolute, you're a servant of the absolute. You know, none of us are, you know, just individuals. I'm saying, you know, individuality is important. I'm not saying, but we're not just, you know, lone wolves. You know, we're just one single unit. We're part of a whole. And if we don't act in the service of that whole, then controversial opinion, that's really what causes cancer. You know, I don't think it's a coincidence that in the modern world, cancer is the biggest thing in the world. You know, it might obviously have so the synthetics, you know, going away from nature. And not obviously going from nature gets you away from spirituality as well. That's another thing. But in reality, think about what cancer actually is. It's literally your cells, yeah, your cells in your body. It acts in such a way, but it's not serving you anymore. See, the cells die in 2-1 days, yeah, get replaced like that. Yeah, but they all work together to produce you. Okay, so you're healthy. So healthy cells make a healthy body. Okay, but the unhealthy cells, they're selfish. They don't die. Like when they're commanded to die, sacrifice themselves, they don't sacrifice themselves. They keep leeching. They become parasitic. They don't serve. They only serve themselves, and then that spreads. But disease spreads all over the body, and eventually the body dies. That's exactly what's happening in modern society. Like with selfishness, with solipsism, you know. It's disgusting, you know. And obviously it's gonna die. It's not gonna last. Like humanity is gonna die if we go in this route. Because we're part of humanity, part of a whole, and obviously humanity is part of another whole, you know. I would say there's sections of humanity too. But yeah. And if you don't serve that whole, and the true transcendental whole is, you know, the absolute, serving God, because that's what everything goes towards. Like we go towards our community, we go towards our family. When our family goes to community, then community goes to country, and the country goes to humanity, and then humanity goes into the wider world we live in. Then the wider world goes into, you know, the cosmos, and the cosmos goes into, you know, whatever else is created, and then whatever else is created, everything in existence goes to the true existence, and that's the absolute God. Okay, so that's why serving God is the ultimate purpose. And if you look at the Quran, it says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I did not create jinn kind or mankind except to serve me. Except to serve. And here it means serve God, the ultimate. Okay, so we're going to start this courage journey. Okay, it's going to be scary. It's going to be very, very scary. You can't hear me if I go too far, so I'm just not going to talk. Just look and observe and see the fear on my face. Just thinking. Give yourself about thinking or calculating. Bismillah. Breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very nice. That was pretty low. Obviously, I wanted to go up because it's, you know, it's steep climb. You know, so I couldn't really go up. But that's like basic. You guys should start with something basic like that. So if you fall, no big deal. This ground is pretty soft as well. If you fall, maybe you'll hurt. Obviously, it'll be painful. And you know, never abandon the principle of struggle. But nothing really will happen to you. So start small, then go up. You know, ultimately you want to go to a level where where if you're not aware of yourself, if you're not there, if you're not courageous, if you don't give yourself without calculating, you'll die. Okay? So you want to get to that level, but obviously that will take time. Don't be rash, don't be stupid. Be sensible. You know, use that fear as your friend, but also be courageous, you know? Because, you know, people who don't have fear, they die. And that will train you. That will train you in life, you know? This kind of stuff, man. It will train you in life to not fear people, man. To not fear society, to not fear, you know, standing for the truth. Upholding your duty. أقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة, to render purity. Not to fear. You only fear the absolute God. But everything comes from. You know? So peace and blessings of God be upon you guys. And that's the message. Peace out. Just look.